So, there was something I wanted to talk about briefly, actually. I was thinking about doing a full, 10-minute talk on this, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how long I can talk about it for. So have you guys heard of the expression? It's a Latin expression. Let me just turn this down just a smidge. And, I'm going to mute. Bloodborne because it's very loud. I don't know how loud it is for you guys, but it's very loud for me. There we go. Okay. Have you guys heard of the Latin expression "otium cum dignitate"? That's otium cum. I might just put that on screen actually. Otium cum dignitate. Is that going to show up? Let's just talk about that for a minute. Okay. So, otium cum dignitate. What do you think that means? Dignitate is, you can sort of get a feel for what that means, right? Dignified. But what the hell does otium mean? Well, what it basically means is a kind of dignified relaxation. So otium was the Latin word for leisure, and it's the opposite of negotium, which meant business, or the opposite of leisure, which is where we get the word negotiation from, or negotiate. So, otium was a very important part. I mean, it's been a very important part of every culture, but it was a different conception when it came to the Romans and the Greeks. When we talk about the Greeks, it's a bit of a misnomer because each Greek city-state had a completely different culture. It's sort of like saying Americans today, all Americans do this. Well, no, they don't. Basically, each state has a very different culture. Hell, the East Coast and the West Coast major cities have very different cultures from each other. Like, you can't just say every American does this one thing, And it's very similar to the Greek city-states, but they were even more harshly defined. And leisure time was, for the most part, seen as very important, as it is today, but they placed even more importance on it. So otium cum dignitate meant a dignified leisure time, which is the idea of using your leisure time properly. The masses still do what the masses do now, and just waste their time away. But the nobles used their time wisely. They used it in order to sort out personal affairs, but also mental states as well. And there's sort of a lost hobby in the West, which is, you can sort of consider it as musing. So sitting there and thinking. Cast pictures. Use your leisure time to avoid social media blocks. Yeah. Yeah. You can do that. And yeah, so using your leisure time properly. And musing is one way of doing it that we had not that long ago. And we don't have it. A lot of people don't really talk about it these days, but it's basically just chilling out, sitting down, and then just thinking. No, like very little music or no music, no TV, no books, no computer, and then just chilling out. And then just thinking something through. And that's very important to help organize your brain and your mind. And a lot of people don't do that these days. Yeah, but some of the Greek city-states had a very interesting idea of leisure time, where some of them, and for the life of me, I can't remember which ones, they would only work half the day. So you get up in the morning and you'd work your ass off until about midday, until about lunchtime. Then you'd stop. And then the afternoon was leisure time. And leisure was a little bit different. It included working out, which was very big. For even the Romans, working out was very big. because the citizenry was the army. You had to be fit, else your city state would just get stomped. Oh, excuse me. Oh, burping. And it's like sort of self-education. Often, university students would work in the morning. The non-aristocratic ones, at least, would work in the mornings, and then they would go to lectures and other things in the evening. And that's when you also had your theatre and sports and stuff like that as well. So it was more than just sitting around playing games. Like, if you think of leisure time now, what do you think? What do people think about? Like, sitting down, playing games, watching YouTube, watching Netflix, all that sort of stuff. Spending time in the forums. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, spending time in the discussion forums and stuff is like that. So yeah, it was a different conception, and there was still people still did like play games and stuff. I mean, it was obviously they didn't have electronic games back in ancient Greece and Rome, but yeah. So there was still a there was still like chilling out and just playing games and not really taking it that seriously. Like, people still did that. But it wasn't as like leisure time now is like just that, you know. If you say you're reading a book, people sort of think you're a bit weird. I get that a lot. When I say I read, people like think I'm really smart, and I don't even say what books I'm reading. And 90% of the time when people say they're reading books, they're like reading like fiction books and stuff like that, which isn't even, or really light reading, which isn't even, you can't even consider that educational, really. Like, you can, it's, it's just another form. You may as well be watching TV at that point. I mean, it's a little better than TV, but, you know. But yeah, so it's interesting. Our conception of leisure time compared to the past conception of leisure time. But even in Rome, there was a distinction between aristocratic leisure and plebeian leisure. And the plebeian leisure was considered, just playing dumb games, going and watching gladiators and like just doing dumb stuff and not really using your time well. Whereas aristocratic leisure was the more careful leisure, where one uses that time to help grow themselves. My family thinks I'm smart because I only read manga. Yeah. Well, look, it is a more active, reading in any form is a more active form of entertainment. So, on the scale of things, it is definitely better than sitting there watching TV or watching Netflix. Even if it's like, stuff like manga, just for raw entertainment, it is still better because you're still using your mind and they're still kicking you into gear. Like, comics and manga are roughly the same, and then, you'd have like just word reading above that, and then, there'd be a different scale. That might be something interesting to talk about, the scale of, we might do that next time. Entertainment scale. Let me just write that down. Entertainment scale. Value scale. That'd be a good one to talk about. Anyway. But yeah, so just next time you're just chilling out and you get some time off and, you got some leisure time, right? Just think, like, what do you want to be spending this on? Do you just want to veg out? And have something sort of just given to you, watching Netflix and just have it poured into your mind, right? Or do you want to use that time to improve yourself in some way? And because it's leisure time, right? It's not work time. That doesn't mean the improving yourself has to be hardcore stuff, like taking a university course, a modern university course, or something like that. But reading a book that is non-fiction, or a philosophy book, or a history book, or something like that, or watching educational videos instead of just anime. It's not to say you have to do it. Sometimes, you know, it's all well and good to take some time to veg out and just let your mind, you know, have things wash over you. That's fine. Everybody needs that every once in a while. But just consider if you're using your time as well as you could be. And I think that's something interesting to think about. If you can take something out of it, regardless of what you're watching, is that not good? Well, that depends. Because every form of media, every communication is trying to push a message onto you. Even when you're talking to somebody, right? Even if we're standing face to face having a conversation, we're trying to give each other information. We're trying to implant that information into each other's heads, right? And what is trying to be implanted in your head isn't always good. You do have to consider if the message that is being sent is going to be worth your time. Even if what you want is just to relax, you do have to be aware of what is coming in. So you do have to, unfortunately, you do have to be on guard 24/7. Because even people that mean well, like I mean well with what the things I talk about, right? I don't intend anybody harm with talking about leisure time, right? But I am trying to push the idea that leisure time isn't just vegging out and watching your favorite Australian dog boy, right? I'm trying to get the idea in your head that leisure time can be very valuable to you and can be used to improve yourself. And in a perfect world, people would turn off Twitch and they would go and do something a lot more valuable with their time. But that being said, there is times that you do just want to chill out and hang out with your favorite Australian dog boy. So unfortunately, you do have to be aware that people are trying to push something on you, even if they don't intend to, and even if they think what they're doing is good, and it might be good, but that's up for you to judge, and you have to judge everything that comes into your eyes, your ears, your mouth, everything. You have to be more wary, and that's just the way the world is. Everybody is a predator, and you are the prey.